Quasi here, and in today's video I want to share with you how you can leave impressions on your subconscious mind so that you can rewire and reprogram yourself the way that you would want. This is an epiphany that I had recently, which allowed me to understand why we are the way that we are, why we unconsciously start to form this way, and the biggest drivers that actually influence your subconscious mind. Once you learn how to influence your subconscious mind yourself, the way that you would want, you're no longer subject to outside conditioning and your environment. You can become free from your environment and actually be the conscious creator of your life, which is the goal that I want every single person to be able to accomplish by the end of this video. So please stick around to the end, and I do think this will be super valuable for you. So before I go ahead and get started with this video, I want to quickly announce you can access our exclusive email list where I share stuff with my community that I can't really share on the channel because of YouTube's platform limitations. The link for that is in the pinned comments down in the description box below. And without further delay, let's go right ahead and get started. The title of today's video is How to Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind. Now, this is a topic I haven't talked about in a very long time because I haven't really thought about it much. But recently I've been playing a lot of golf, and I started to understand what role the subconscious mind really has on your life and on every single other area of your life, not just sport and golf. But at high speeds like that in sport, you know, your conscious mind it's too slow to react. That's why your subconscious mind is so important. So if you learn to harness your subconscious mind, you're going to be much more powerful than you could ever be with just simply using your conscious mind, right? So as I like to begin every single video, let's begin with the common misconceptions about the subconscious mind. Most commonly, people believe that the way to reprogram the subconscious mind is to do some unconscious activity, like, I don't know, listen to tapes and affirmation audios and subliminal audios, and those may work for you, but I have found that those aren't the most effective way to reprogram yourself. Okay, if you're unconsciously doing something, then you're going to have it remain unconscious and untapped. It's just going to go in through one ear and come out the other if you're listening to affirmation tapes. At least that's what I've found. I know a lot of people are going to give me shit for saying that in the comments, but personally, I haven't found too much use of that standalone, but if you combine those with other things, they can become very effective. So the common misconception is doing some hypnotic, unconscious activity is going to reprogram your subconscious. No, that's not true. We have to investigate what reprogrammed the subconscious mind, why you are the way that you are right now. Why have you become the way that you are? Something must have happened, and it wasn't unconscious. It wasn't entirely unconscious, okay? And what I mean by that is if you notice every single time you've stored some memory in your subconscious, it's because there was some strong feeling associated with a particular stimulus, okay? So this brings us to a revelation. Stimulus plus feeling equals subconscious reprogrammed. What do I mean by this? So the first time you ever touch something, a surface really hot, or like a hot stove, or maybe you got shocked by electricity. When you did that, you felt a strong feeling, and that feeling was pain, and that stored a memory in your subconscious. Then from then on, you knew that it's not right to do this. Like, I shouldn't do this because it causes pain. It causes this undesired feeling. But then if you did something right, let's say you're riding a bike and you used your muscles in some way, you got feedback from the bicycle and from your environment, and you learned to maneuver the bike. Now you store that as, this is a good feeling, this feels right, this has worked before. And you store that in your subconscious. When you're riding a bike, you can't think about every single muscle you've got to twitch in order to pedal and keep the bike in balance. All of that process happens subconsciously. Just as your heart beats, all of those muscles, they work harmoniously together because of this subconscious mind, something we can't consciously, deliberately control, right? So these examples show how a stimulus presented with a feeling allows us to store impressions in the subconscious mind. Okay? So why are people so concerned with the subconscious mind? I actually made a video about this, like what percentage of our whole being is subconscious or collective unconscious, and what percentage of it is conscious. Around 5% of your whole being is conscious. And the rest of it is consisted of the subconscious and the collective subconscious, the collective unconscious, whatever you want to call it. But the whole point of this is that the conscious forms a very, very tiny part, but it's still a very crucial part, which we will get right into. And the vast majority of it is subconscious and unconscious. Okay? So now, as I've grown in my particular journey, when I first started off, I would overthink everything. Like I would post a video or write up an email and send it to my customer list, and I would overthink every little thing. And I realized that this overthinking, this perfectionism, was like my conscious mind trying to rationalize every little thing and trying to make it perfect. And even though I thought about every little thing, something would always go wrong that I didn't think about, right? Something that I couldn't have predicted. And when I let go of needing to rely so much on my conscious mind and just trusted, and I just left it to the subconscious, whatever happens, I will gain feedback from this and I will grow from this, even though I might not consciously be able to see where I'm growing. Guess what happened? All of those iterations and all of those changes came up, and they happened naturally. Next time when I did something, if I had to watch out for something, I didn't have to worry about it. It would just come to me from a past experience. Okay, so when you learn to get out of the way, you actually you let the subconscious do its thing. And how we do that is via trust. So the likelihood of your success in allowing your subconscious mind to do its thing is via trust. Trust. So what's an example of this? I'm going to give you an example of this. So when I was playing golf, I would swing, and what happened was this one time I had this terrible pattern of ball flight, and I just couldn't get it where I wanted to, and it would just fly off into the woods. And that was very painful for me. And the more I kept focusing on that, the more that kept happening. And what started to happen was I started to consciously think about my swing. Instead of just having a smooth flow and rhythm with my swing, I would just consciously think about, okay, I'm going to try to hit the ball like this so it doesn't go there. And the more I tried to avoid the ball going somewhere, the more it started to happen even more, right? Because that's what I was focusing on. So another key thing we can deduce from that is the subconscious mind works on focus, okay? Whatever you focus on, the content of your focus is what you move towards. If you focus on avoiding something, you'll move towards that thing. If you focus on moving towards something, you move towards that thing. This is why a lot of people, when you think about avoiding some undesired scenario, right? I don't want to be late to this place. Your subconscious all of a sudden optimizes for being late. So the subconscious doesn't understand the nature of your focus, this is what I want to avoid and this is what I want to move towards. Now, it doesn't speak such complex language. Because it works at such a high speed, it only looks at the content of your focus. So that's why when I change my focus from, all right, I want to avoid the ball going there, to where do I actually want the ball to go? I want the ball to go to that flag, and I just swing freely instead of trying to consciously control it. I trust my swing. That's exactly what starts to happen. That's why a lot of people, when they play golf, when they overthink, they don't play too well, right? They just start messing up and they get all stiff. And you can't, if you want to play a sport, you can't be stiff. You're supposed to be enjoying it, you're supposed to be playing it, and you're supposed to be creative. These lessons, by the way, are all very applicable in your business and any other area of your life. When you start to get into networking events, or you're going on a date, and you start to get all stiff and you start to overthink and you think about the next thing to say instead of being present to the moment and being here right now and trusting that what you need to say next will naturally come up. When you start overthinking, it never works out. The other person just thinks you're creepy because you're always in your head and you're always stiff and you can't relax. And because you can't relax, the other person can't relax as well. They get their guards up. Same thing happens when you're in a conversation with your prospective client. Maybe you're doing a sales call. Same shit happens. So what I really mean to say by this is, if you want to utilize, one part of it is reprogramming your subconscious mind. The other part of it is letting your subconscious mind actually work for you. In order to let your subconscious mind work for you, you've got to get out of its way by trusting and you've got to give it something to focus on, something very simple. You can't have a million different thoughts of what you want to avoid, what you don't want happening, what worst case scenario. These are things that you consciously plan out before you get into action, and you start to you prepare for them in a contingency. Like maybe you're doing some promotion for your business, or maybe you're launching an ad and you're like, okay, what possible consequences could come up from this? Okay, I've noted that, I've noted that, I've noted that. Then you just trust and get out of the way and you commit to it fully. That's the best way to let your subconscious mind do its work so that you can reach your goal. Most people, what they do is they overthink and they get in the way and they start to self-sabotage because they think about what they want to avoid more than what they want. Okay? So that's what I want to really share with you today, which is, first of all, what makes the subconscious mind, what makes an impression in the subconscious mind, which is a stimulus plus feeling, and what actually allows you to utilize that vast reserve of subconscious you have already. Okay, you've experienced all of these things already, but the problem is you don't trust yourself. You trust something that you read in a book, then you trust yourself, right? You trust something someone has said more than you trust yourself. And in business and in life, you can never be successful if you don't trust yourself. You know, your ability to succeed, your likelihood of success is literally tied into how much you're willing to trust yourself, right? And by trusting yourself, I mean just having faith and knowing that whatever happens, good or bad, it's actually happening to benefit you. Please think about it this way. When you rode a bike, you actually fell. You fell from the bike and you failed before you could succeed. So how do you know these failures are in feedback that your subconscious is collecting so that it can correct beyond what your conscious mind can comprehend? Think about that. All right? So this is how you utilize your subconscious mind, through trust and focus. So now let's get to the actual keys that you can begin to use right now to begin reprogramming yourself. All right. Key number one, this is something you must know, is the best way to reprogram your subconscious mind is actually through the conscious mind. Aha, so you might be wondering, Quasi, what the hell are you talking about? I want you to look at it this way. Imagine that you have this vast store of subconscious, okay? But this vast store of subconscious is actually guarded by a little gate called the conscious. In order to access this vast store, the conscious mind has got to be open. When you trust, you let whatever doubts and fears that you have, you just let them exist. You acknowledge their right to exist and you trust anyway. And you go forward anyway. And you let the subconscious do the work. Okay? So when you are about to do something, so in the example of that golf swing, you might have some doubt, like, oh no, the ball might go here. I don't want that. Well, what do I want instead? This is how I'm consciously focusing my mind on what is wanted instead. So now the conscious mind, the only role of the conscious mind here is to focus the efforts of the subconscious. Where should these efforts be channeled? The efforts of the subconscious should be channeled towards that target. So that's the use of the conscious mind, to direct where and what the subconscious optimizes for. And if you give it too many goals, it starts to get confused and it goes all over the place. It can't optimize effectively. That's why having fewer goals and fewer targets is actually much better. And that's why when I teach people how to set goals, we always talk about how you can be who you need to be so that you can effortlessly achieve all of your goals. Because there's a person that's doing the achieving, right? If you become that person, then you knock the big domino, and then all of the small dominoes start to get knocked over as well, right? So this is why I talk about identity shifting so much and you becoming who you need to be so that you can effortlessly achieve what you want. Another part of this to reprogramming the subconscious is through consciously, deliberately practicing something. So I also learned this in golf when my coach taught me that, at this point of your, golfing career, it's not just about hitting as many balls as you can. It isn't. It's about hitting a few balls and practicing just a few balls, but you consciously and deliberately hit it. You focus your mind on the target you want it to go. It's better to hit 10 balls deliberately than 100 balls unconsciously, right? So remember the point I was talking about initially when I said if you unconsciously do something, it's not gonna have any effect, as opposed to if you consciously do it, because now you're really feeling every single moment that you're practicing, right? The feeling and the stimulus are both there. You are there to collect all that feedback and consciously absorb all that feedback, right? So it's better to consciously and deliberately live your life when in your business, you conduct some activity. Do it consciously and deliberately. And even if you fail, you will get the feedback that you need. Just trust that your subconscious will get all that feedback that it needs in order to iterate for that next time around, in order to iterate for that goal that you've set. And always stay firm in that goal. I never try to change my goal unless I see that it's absolutely necessary and it completely makes sense. To the best of my ability, I will stay completely firm and relentless on one goal that I've set and commit to it until I get some necessary feedback. Okay? That's number one. The best way to the subconscious is through the conscious. And number two, get out of your own way and trust. It's simple. In order to get out of your own way, you have to trust. And by the way, trusting means being okay with whether or not you succeed or fail. When you trust, failure doesn't even enter the definition anymore. Like, failure doesn't exist. It's either where you succeed now or you get appropriate feedback in order to succeed later. It doesn't matter. Time doesn't become a constraint anymore. Time doesn't become your enemy anymore. Time becomes your friend. Okay? You don't become limited within time anymore. You become unlimited within time. It doesn't matter if you don't achieve it now. Something's going to happen. It's going to be achieved anyways. Okay? Time is working with you, not against you. When your perspective shifts from time is working with me rather than against me, you're going to start using activities and investing in things that time will help compound, like maybe investments or other activities in your business that are more longer term focused. Kind of like Jeff Bezos does with Amazon, right? All of his ideas are more longer term rather than getting some short-term profit, because he thinks that this company is infinite. It's long lasting. And that's how your decisions will be optimized. So get out of your own way. In order to get out of your own way, you've just got to trust that whatever happens is happening for the best. We have this fundamental assumption that whatever's happening right now is actually leading me to my goal. Even if it looks like in the moment, it's going to be really hard, right? Like someone's going to throw some spanner in the works. You've had all these plans and then something just gets in the way and it doesn't work out perfectly. Cool. That was meant to happen in order for you to get to your goal. That's the fundamental assumption that we operate from. So with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. Let's do a quick recap of what we talked about today. Today, we talked about how to leave impressions in the subconscious mind, but not only that, how to get out of your own way so you can use and utilize whatever impressions are in the subconscious mind anyways, the vast power of the subconscious mind. And we began with the mistaken assumption that we've all heard of, that in order to reprogram the subconscious mind, you've got to do some unconscious activity, like listen to some music or some hypnosis and be unconscious and let unconscious stimulus in. No, you've got to consciously let the stimulus in and have a feeling associated with it. When there's a stimulus plus a feeling, then it gets stored in the subconscious. And the examples we gave were touching a really hot surface or even riding a bike and learning the necessary adjustments. And we also talked about how to get out of your own way so that you can let your subconscious do the work. And what we concluded was you need to focus on as little as possible, as small of a target as possible, or fewer targets as possible, and trust that whatever happens in the pursuit of this target, moving towards this target, is actually helping you adjust and correct course so you get the optimal point towards the target. And finally, we left with two keys. Number one, the best way to the subconscious mind is through the conscious, is through deliberate practice. It's best to do something less and do it consciously. It's best to meditate for less time, but actually be fully engaged in meditation rather than just sit and do nothing. Quality over quantity, than it is to just, do multiple hours of meditation where you're not really meditating, you're actually sleeping, right? And we also talked about the target, having one small specific target and being relentless at it until you get enough feedback that it's time to pivot or it's time to change directions. And finally, number 2, again, reiterating what we just talked about, getting out of your own way and trusting. And trust literally means being okay with whatever happens. Trust means operating from the fundamental assumption that everything that's happening right now is happening to my advantage. It's happening to help me move towards the goal. So guys, with that I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. Please leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of this, if this was helpful, if you have suggestions for future videos, or leave me actually one big takeaway that you took from this video. I'd love to know what was useful to you. And also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell there so you're notified of any new video that I put out. If you'd like to work closer together with me and my team in our flagship Reality Mastery program, the link for that is down in the description below. Some spots are open, but unfortunately, we don't typically work with everyone. It's a very specialized program. We only work with entrepreneurs and business owners who are stuck at a certain revenue level in their business or in their lives, and they want to take it to the next level. They want to make more money, and they have all of the tactics and strategies, and they've tried everything, but they're noticing that it's not a tactical or strategic problem. They have the awareness to be able to admit that, you know what, at this point, it's not a tactical or strategic problem. It's a me problem. My personal problems are reflecting out into the business, and no matter what tactics and strategies you do, no matter how much money you make, you're not fulfilled, you're not happy, you can't live a sustainable life. All of your internal demons start to haunt you. If that sounds like you, click on the link to sign up for a free consultation call with us. Let's see if we can help. Let's see if we'd be a good fit to work together. And also, our free Facebook group is open for you to take advantage of. The link for that is also in the description. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Till next time, peace.